Montana's leader. This is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Montana's wildfire season unfortunately off to a roaring start. You may have noticed the plume of smoke settling in over the sky in Billings tonight. This is a time lapse of that smoke coming from the Robertson Draw Fire in Carbon County, which is forcing some to leave their homes. We'll get to that in just a minute, but first, some very scary moments for those fighting the fires around Montana. Earlier tonight, a pretty frightening incident for a DNRC helicopter that was battling the Deep Creek blaze near Townsend in Broadwater County. This is video of the aftermath of that incident that the Broadwater Reporter posted on its Facebook page. Fortunately, the crew does appear to have gotten out safely, and according to a tweet from Governor Greg Gianforte, all involved were getting the necessary medical attention. The governor sent his prayers for them and all first responders as they continue to battle blazes across Montana. The flames of the Deep Creek fire, which is burning 18 miles east of Townsend, had been driven by wind and hot temperatures today. The Broadwater County Sheriff's Office has shut down Highway 12 in the area of that fire, and evacuations have been ordered by the Marr County Sheriff's Office for people in that area. Well, just south of Red Lodge, the Robertson Draw Fire grew 10 times larger in a nearly 12-hour period, forcing several evacuations and warnings along with road closures. That fire, which began yesterday afternoon, erupted today, has now burned over 2,000 acres. The Gold and Ruby Creek areas have been re-evacuated tonight, and Grove Creek is now under evacuation as well. Also, evacuation orders are now in effect for the area west of Meeteetse Trail Road and the east side of Highway 212 from Meeteetse Trail Road to Westminster Spires Church Camp. For those displaced by the fire, a shelter has been set up at the Red Lodge Community Church, and the Red Cross has set up another at the Civic Center. The flames have also forced the closure for the area south of Highway 212, expanding east to the area along the Beartooth Front and south to the Wyoming border. The closure does not include the campgrounds and homes along East Side Road. That blaze is currently burning sage, grass, and timber, and additional aircraft and crews have arrived to battle the wildfire. As of now, no cause has been determined. Also, a wildfire burning on the Crow Indian Reservation, according to a social media post by the BIA Forestry and Wildland Fire Management. The Buffalo Pasture Fire was about 100 acres in size, but was spreading rapidly earlier today. The flames are currently burning in the Bighorn Mountains and a deep canyon between Little Bull Elk Ridge and the tribe's buffalo pasture. It's about 7 miles south of the Bighorn Canyon National Recreation Area. Helicopters and firefighters were battling the blaze. The post stated that the fire was burning heavy fuels on both sides of the canyon walls. Well, the Yellowstone County Commissioner is trying to lessen the threat by approving burning restrictions across the county. Starting at midnight tonight, Stage 1 fire restrictions will be put in place until conditions improve. People are not allowed to set fires to clear land or debris, and open fires are prohibited on residential and commercial property, forest rangeland, and cropland. Now, people who smoke must do so within a closed vehicle or building or in an area that is cleared of flammable material for 3 feet in diameter. Recreational fires in fire pits are still permitted if they're smaller than 48 inches, surrounded by a non-flammable structure, and a source to extinguish the fire is visible. All right, turning to Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh in the Weather Center in Billings, getting a lot of that smoke you can see out there tonight, Ed.
That's right, and a lot more all across the eastern portion of the state. Everything in green is lighter amounts of smoke, but you can see where, especially coming off those major fires that you were talking about, we're anywhere up to heavy smoke, and even a couple of areas where we could be in the dense category as those major fires continue to burn. Now, as we take it into the next 24 hours, this is a forecast analysis of where the smoke is likely to go due to those southwesterly winds coming off the fires around Red Lodge and then also around Buffalo, Wyoming. So that's going to push it right across Yellowstone County, then also into areas of southeast Montana. Come back in a couple of minutes. We'll take a look at those record-setting temperatures and a cool down to follow. The details on the forecast are a few minutes from now.
All right, thank you, Ed. Well, the high heat meant high demand for air conditioning across the area. The owner of local HVAC company R&T Services said they received many calls today from people whose AC systems went kaput. The high heat really stresses an AC system, especially one that's getting onto its last legs. In the wintertime, many will often be happy to wait a day or two to get their heat back on, but not so much when it comes to a broken AC.
When it's really hot outside, we can't say that to customers. We tell them that, well, I'm sorry, we're booked through the day. We can't get to you till tomorrow. And some people just have a really big problem with that. Our folks here are very much acclimated to the cold weather, not so much to the hot weather.
Well, Dawson added to save a bit of money on the electric bill and keep your home cooler throughout the day to use a thermostat to keep the temperature consistent. The fierce heat that we've been dealing with is putting a local nonprofit in a tough situation. That's because the lives of homeless pets are at stake. Q2's Andrea Lutz takes us to a donation-based animal shelter that has been working overtime to keep its animals cool and safe.
These record-breaking temperatures are going to be a lot for people to handle in Billings. But what about some of the area's nonprofits? We're checking in on them, especially the ones that don't have AC.
If you thought the weather was hot,
now we got a couple of these big guys here.
Try having fur. Here at the nonprofit Help for Homeless Pets, Ashley Burling walks us through the facility where there's no AC.
We're managing. It's hot. You know, we have around 67 cats and about 15 dogs.
She says Monday, when the temperature hit 100, a bit of panic set in.
Kind of right between 3 and 4. Yeah, we were really feeling the heat, feeling the pressure of what we were going to do to cool these guys down.
What came next was a blessing that you can only find in a community like Billings.
Yesterday, you know, a bunch of people came together. We got some good airflow, some fans going in here, so it's a little better.
Now fan after fan is firing on all cylinders, keeping the cats cool inside.
They're just kind of chilling. Like I said, they're adaptable.
On the outside, though, they've had to get more creative.
And so we've got a gal back there right now, one at a time, taking them to the pool, you know, hosing them down with the hose.
And while the Billings heat wave is only short-lived.
Well, heat and cold can be two major obstacles that we have as a shelter, especially housing as many animals as we do.
They're making it through. Until the next obstacle, only a nonprofit would encounter.
Keep cooling down, only lasts for a minute in Montana. We'll be back to the cold in no time. Yeah.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
And it's also volunteers who are working to keep the pets cool. Help for Homeless Pets relies heavily on their volunteers, which they are always looking for, we're told. In national news, the Biden administration's suspension of new oil and gas leases on federal land and water has been blocked by a federal judge in Louisiana. The decision is a blow to President Biden's efforts to rapidly transition the nation away from fossil fuels and stave off the worst effects of climate change. The moratorium was first imposed on January 27th after Biden signed executive orders to fight climate change, and the suit was filed in March. Well, COVID-19 has now claimed its fourth Yellowstone County victim in June after there were 4 total in the month of May. The latest death, a woman in her 60s, died today at a Billings hospital. She did have underlying health conditions and had not been vaccinated. 273 lives have now been lost in Yellowstone County since the pandemic began. According to Riverstone Health, vaccinations remain the key to preventing community spread. As of now, about 40% of Yellowstone County's residents have received at least 1 dose of a COVID vaccine, and that puts us behind most of Montana's major cities. So Riverstone Health is hitting the pavement this week with an interesting new partnership. Here's Casey Conlon with more.
It's a numbers game across Billings parks this summer. Not only is the Reading Rocks program back in full swing, but right next door, Riverstone Health has partnered to offer COVID-19 vaccine clinics with specific emphasis on kids.
Well, that was good. That was fine. Didn't even hear that. It was really easy. I got up maybe 5 minutes before we got here and we did it. So
it wasn't a decision 14-year-old Chloe HASBROUCK made lightly. Did you have any hesitation about it, or?
I still do. My parents are worried about it too. Since it's new, but felt like since I have a lot of older people in my family, it would be a good idea to get the vaccination.
Liv Wilson received her second Pfizer dose this afternoon, one of the last in her group of friends to be fully vaccinated.
You did it. Thank you.
Was there any hesitancy about getting it?
Not really, no. It was kind of something that we kind of all wanted to do, just to help our families and stuff.
That's been a common theme at the first 2 clinics this week, but it's not just kids showing up.
What I've noticed too is a lot of people just walking by will stop by and be like, oh, you're giving shots. So being out here in the public offers people who don't have access to internet. So we just did a guy who the only time he can get online is at the library. And so him just riding by, he was able to take that opportunity, which he wouldn't have gotten.
The Reading Rocks partnership, not to mention Sodexo's hot lunch program on site, has created an event that organizers hope will boost each program.
I hope so. I think that definitely helps. There's more reason to come, more reason. The pool opened up today, which is great. That's more reason for people to come.
Thank you. You are so welcome, and you have your card.
In Pioneer Park, Casey Conlon, MTN News.
Well, the free clinics run from noon until 1 p.m. and offer both the Pfizer vaccine for anyone 12 and older and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine for those 18 and older. And they will be at Castle Rock Park tomorrow and Central Park on Thursday. The Billings Clinic Classic is back in true form this year, at least pretty close to what the community has come to expect from the annual fundraiser. The 2021 Classic returns with a downtown street party, food, fun, and some fabulous entertainment on Saturday, August 28th. Back to perform this year, Alter Ego, and the pre-party will feature local favorite Arterial Drive. This year's Classic will also include 7 golf events in Montana and Wyoming. All this to support the tiniest patients across our region. The money raised will go toward a $3.5 million capital campaign to build a new neonatal intensive care unit at the hospital. The Billings Clinic NICU is 22 years old, and technology and delivery of care has dramatically changed. The new NICU will be more family-focused and allow for more space and technology and for better patient outcomes. Frank Cross is this year's Classic Chair and NICU champion. His company provided the furniture for the original one.
The mom needs to be there. There's not even a restroom facility close by. So the new NICU will have family space in areas that the mother can go to, the father can stay, the siblings will have an area that they can go to. It's just the whole end result is well needed after 22 years, and it's thrilling for me to lead the charge to get the money to build the unit.
There are a couple of changes to this year's Classic. On Saturday, August 28th, there will be limited ticket sales, and partygoers are strongly encouraged to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. To get your tickets or get signed up for a golf event, you can call the foundation or go to BillingsClinicFoundation.com. Still ahead on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2, a new Montana law is set to compensate the wrongly convicted, but even some of those who passed that law are not happy. I'll tell you why. And in sports, from the court to the gridiron, 1-2 sport arts all-star putting in double time this summer. We'll meet him coming up in just a bit.